If you're someone who's always on the hunt for new ways to add shimmer and shine to your cards, this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video, I'll be sharing the new Altenew Shimmer Relief Paste and 5 different ways to use it on your projects. I thought I only had 5 techniques, but it turns out I have 8. So we're gonna share 8 different techniques using the Shimmer Relief Paste. This new Shimmer Relief Paste is buttery smooth and easy to apply to all types of paper projects. So let's check out the paste first and the gorgeous metallic colors that it comes in. This is the first Shimmer Relief Paste that I want to show you. This is Enchanted Gold. All of the pastes come in these little jars. They're not actually that little. You can see my whole hand has to hold it. And they do have that little cardboard at the top, which I'm keeping inside the cap, hoping that will keep the paste pretty smooth and not dry out. This is Smoky Quartz. I love that dark color. Here's Rose Gold, which is absolutely beautiful. And wait until you see these on projects. This is Brushed Pyrite. I am not sure what that color is. I don't know that I know that metal, but it's really beautiful. Here is Brushed Platinum. And then we also have Antique Silver. And I think my favorite might be Pearl, either that or Enchanted Gold, but they're all gorgeous and they all work very similarly. This is the Scattered Tiles stencil set. I just want to show you some of the stencils that you can use with this. This is the foil leaf stencil set. That is a great one to use with the shimmer paste. This is the dotted pattern, and these are squiggly lines. So you can use those different pastes with stencils or without, but I'll show you a bunch of different ways. This is the stamp set from the Craft Your Life set this month. It's called Garden Whispers. There are 2 florals that you can create. You can stamp them and die cut them if you get the dies. The dies also cut out the sentiments on that stamp set. There is a stencil set, and the stencils will color in both of those flowers. So very easy to color those in. Here's the Garden Whispers 3D embossing folder. It is that large image that you're going to emboss. This is the Serene Garden 3D embossing folder and stencil set. Now let's jump into 5 different techniques where I'll use the brand new Altenew Shimmer Relief Paste along with other items from the Altenew February release to create some cards. So one way to use the Shimmer Relief Paste is to create dots of it with a scoring tool. First thing I'm going to do is stamp out the large flower image from that Craft Your Life set, and then I'll die cut it out. I like to die cut it after I stamp it and then stencil it. It just makes it easier for me to line up the stencils and to make everything fit. Of course, when you have the 2.0 stamp wheel, it is much easier to get everything to fit anyway because of the larger platform size, and also because that side wall on the right hand side does remove. I'm using some of the Bubblegum Dreams inks to color in these flowers, and these pinks are stunning. And I love the greens as well. Everything is very bright and looks really amazing stenciled on top of this design. And then I'll add in some yellow for those flower centers and a little bit of peach glow for the centers as well. And now I have a completely colored in image, super easy to do with those stencils. I did want to share the new foam tapes. They come in different widths and they also come in different dimensions. So if you look, the older foam tape is the thinner one and the new foam tape is that thicker one. So you get a little bit more dimension. Depending on what you're looking for, I like to have different options with my foam tape so that I can have different elements popping up higher than others. For this one, I'll just have the whole image popped up on that higher foam tape, and then I'll flip it over and use my Altenew scissors that are non-stick so they can cut right through that foam tape and just cut off anything that hangs off of the A2 white cardstock that I'm creating this card panel on. So I'll just snip off everything that hangs off the edge there, and then I have that large flower image right on that left hand side. I've got some white space on the right that's perfect to pop up the sentiment, and then I'll add some enamel dots. So the Bubblegum Dreams and the other ink sets this month also have enamel dots, and they replicate the colors from the inks. So here's how you use the shimmer paste with a scoring tool. I'm dotting the shimmer paste onto the scoring tool and then dotting it right onto the card. You can see that I'm dotting it right over those flower centers because there are those tiny little images of the stamen, I guess, in the flower that are popped up. And so it will add a hint of shine and also a little bit of dimension. Depending on how thick of an application you use, you will get some dimension out of the Shimmer Relief Paste. This is a real simple way to use it. Another really easy technique with the shimmer paste is to brush it over an inked flower. So I have the other flower from that Craft Your Life stamp set, and I've stamped it, die cut it, and then stenciled it in. Once I pull that off, it's a really pretty flower. I've just had the flower in one color and the leaves in a couple of other colors. I'll pop that up right on my card mat, which is 4x5 1/4, so that I can mat it on some colorful cardstock from Altenew and pop up 2 of the sentiments from the stamp set. Then I'll take a little bit of the pearl shimmer paste and I'll just put it on my glass mat, and then with my finger, I'll tap it and sort of smear it onto the flower itself. This is just going to add a hint of shine, especially since the pearl isn't a color necessarily, it's that white. So I'll be able to make it thin enough that it's pretty translucent. You'll still see the lines of the stamp, but you'll get that nice shine right on the flower. You can also use the shimmer paste over an element of a stencil. So this stencil set actually colors in both the flowers of the embossed image and also a butterfly. So I'll start by inking everything up. I have some ink that I'm using for the flowers and their flower centers, and I have some of those greens for the leaves, and then I'll go back to that Bubblegum Dreams for the pinks for this butterfly. So this butterfly has several different elements on the stencil. You can see the outer pieces are one color, then they're sort of striped. Here is that last element of the butterfly, and for that last element, I'll use the Enchanted Gold and just swipe it right over the empty spaces of that stencil. I want to make it nice and consistent and smooth, and check that out. Absolutely beautiful for part of that butterfly. To finish this card off, I'll cut out the Be Strong die, and I'll cut out the Be Strong word out of a gold glitter cardstock and then the shadow out of a white cardstock, and then pop that up. And I really love how only one element of the stencil has that shimmer paste. Another technique for the shimmer paste is a fully stenciled background. So I have another one of those floral images from the Garden Whispers set, and this time I'm embossing it, and I will ink that up. For the background, I'm placing the squiggly lines stencil over a piece of white cardstock, and I hold it in place on my glass mat with some purple tape from Altenew, and then I'll just wipe from side to side because that's the direction that the lines go. It's much easier to follow the direction of the stencil if you can. And I'll just go from the left side to the right side and make sure everything is pretty consistent and smooth. And I don't want it too thick, but I do want a hint of dimension, and that's what you get when you use a little bit of a thicker application. Now I'll take that floral image that I die cut out and embossed and then inked up, and I'll pop it up on some foam adhesive and place that right on top of that stenciled Enchanted Gold background. Once again, I'll flip it over and trim off any of the excess using my nonstick scissors. I'll pop up the sentiment that I stamped and die cut, and that's all you need for this one. That background is so shiny and so much fun and so beautiful. You can also use the shimmer paste over an embossed background. So I'm using the Ornate Emblems 3D embossing folder, and I'll emboss some pink cardstock. Then I'll take some of the rose gold shimmer paste and place it on my glass mat. And then I'll just pick it up with my finger. If you don't like getting ink or shimmer paste or anything like that on your hands, you could definitely wear some thin gloves, like latex gloves, and do it that way. But it comes off pretty easily, honestly. You just need to wash it with a little bit of soap and water, and it came right off my hands. So I love this look because it makes the whole background look almost like a metal, which is so pretty. And of course, any area where it's raised from the 3D embossing folder is going to have the most shine. Another technique is to use multiple colors of shimmer paste and add some texture over a stencil. So you can see I'm swiping down areas of my first color, and I'm not completely covering the entire stencil with that first color. I just want to swipe on a little bit here and there, and then I'll go into my second color and start adding little blobs of that all around where there are some open areas on the stencil. Next, I'm going to start to really spread that out a little bit so that I'm covering up the stencil with that second color a little bit more than the first. Don't worry, I'm not going to make it all disappear. And the last thing you're doing is using the side of that tool to press down and lift up to create texture. It almost looks like sponge painting. And there you can see you get both colors on that background and you get that additional texture. So in order to finish this card off, I'll cut a piece of that embossed metallic look that we created and place it on top, and then have the second look on the bottom. I'll use a piece of black cardstock as sort of a trim in the center and put my sentiment popped up there. For this technique, let's use layering stencils and 2 different colors. So the first thing you're doing is just adding one of the colors. This is the silver, the antique silver, and just placing it over the entire first stencil in the set. And I'll just make sure it's pretty consistent, not too thick, but not too thin. And yes, very Goldilocks in this application. And then I'll peel that off, clean off the stencil, and let that dry. Once it's fully dry, like overnight if you can wait. Then I'll place the second stencil down, and I'll place the second color down on that stencil. And this time I'm using Enchanted Gold. So once we peel that off, you'll notice that you have a great two-tone effect, and those tiles look so cool with 2 different colors of that shimmer paste. To finish this card off, I've cut out the Be Strong word die out of black cardstock. As I mentioned, you don't always have to use the shadow. I think it looks great here without, and then I'll mat that down on some black cardstock as an outline as well. For this technique, we're going to do partial stenciling. This is super simple. You just don't stencil the whole area. So just swipe on some of that shimmer paste. I'm using the pearl on white cardstock, which is a really pretty look. I'm just not doing it edge to edge, which creates kind of more of an artistic look in the center of that cardstock. I did have another piece of that embossed with the shimmer paste, so I added that to the top and then a sentiment at the bottom. Again, these are very easy to create, but they have lots of shine, dimension, and a very impressive look due to the Altenew Shimmer Relief Pastes. I don't know about you, but I love simple and easy ways to add lots of shine to my cards. So the new Altenew Shimmer Relief Paste are a dream come true. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.